All right, let's talk about a problem that, well, it's a good problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless. What happens when your project is so successful? Your data pipeline is so popular that it just breaks. When that flood of new data you've been hoping for suddenly threatens to drown the very system you built to handle it. Let's dive in.
So picture this. You've done it. You've built the perfect data pipeline. It's elegant, it's efficient, it just works beautifully. And then your company hits the jackpot. Business explodes. Suddenly, data isn't just trickling in, it's pouring in. And that beautiful system you built, well, it starts to creak and groan, and finally, it slows to a painful crawl. It is the classic definition of being a victim of your own success.
And look, this isn't some theoretical what-if scenario. For tons of growing companies, this is a very real, very stressful crisis. A crisis that's born directly from amazing, positive growth. The very thing you were working towards is now threatening to grind your entire operation to a halt.
And you feel the symptoms almost immediately. That report that used to take minutes, now it takes hours. Real-time insights are, well, they're not real-time anymore. In short, your system's performance hasn't just dipped, it's completely fallen off a cliff.
Okay, so how do we wrap our heads around this in a way that makes sense? To make this whole thing intuitive, we're going to use a simple analogy throughout this explainer. Think of your data pipeline as a restaurant kitchen. It's a surprisingly perfect fit, you'll see.
But before we go any further, let's get on the same page about our key term here, scalability. What does it actually mean? Put simply, it's about a system's ability to handle more and more work without breaking a sweat. It's about growing your capacity to meet demand without dropping the ball on quality or speed.
And this is where the analogy just clicks. A data pipeline, it processes data. A restaurant kitchen, it fulfills orders. The goal for both is to be fast, efficient, and super reliable. Because, let's be real, a sudden spike in data is exactly like a restaurant getting slammed with a huge dinner rush out of nowhere.
So we get the problem. How do we fix it? How do you actually build a system that doesn't just survive this kind of growth, but actually thrives on it? It all starts with having a clear blueprint, and the very first rule is you have to design for that demand from day one.
So here it is, the blueprint. It's basically a three-step game plan. First, you have to design for growth right from the get-go. Second, you have to constantly, and I mean constantly, monitor and tweak what you've built. And third, you leverage the absolutely incredible power of the cloud. Let's break each of these down.
This first step is all about the choices you make before you've even processed a single byte of data. It's like building your restaurant, right? You wouldn't put a tiny little home oven in a commercial kitchen. No, you'd install industrial-grade equipment that can handle the rush. You have to choose tools and technologies that are built for the future you, not just the you of today. That means thinking in modular components and flexible architectures, so you can easily swap out or upgrade parts later without having to tear the whole thing down.
But, just building a fantastic kitchen isn't enough, right? A great chef is always watching, always tasting, always tweaking their station to make sure everything runs perfectly. Well, that exact same discipline is what it takes to keep a data pipeline healthy and performing at its best. And really, this boils down to two key actions. First, you're always on the lookout for bottlenecks. You're trying to find that one slow stove that's holding up every single order. And once you find it, you adjust, you make a change. Maybe that means adding a little more processing power, or maybe it just means optimizing a query to get things flowing smoothly again.
Now for our third and honestly, maybe the most powerful strategy in the entire blueprint, embracing the cloud. Think about it like this. What if you could instantly rent a bigger, better, fully staffed kitchen anytime you got a rush of orders? That's what the cloud does for you.
And this advice is just so critical today. Back in the day, scaling up meant physically buying, installing, and maintaining massive, expensive servers. It was a huge pain. Today, cloud platforms are pretty much the default solution for these big data challenges for one simple reason. They were built for exactly this kind of flexibility and scale.
The magic of the cloud really comes down to its incredible flexibility and its on-demand resources. Let's go back to our restaurant. It's like partnering with a food delivery service during that insane dinner rush. You don't have to go out and hire your own fleet of drivers and buy a bunch of cars, right? No, you just tap into their existing network to meet that sudden spike in demand. That's the cloud.
So if you remember just one thing from all of this, please let it be this.
Scalability is not an afterthought. It's not a nice-to-have feature you can just bolt on later. It has to be baked into your system's foundation from the very beginning. It's the bedrock that all of your future success will be built on.
So let's just boil this all down to a super simple checklist for you. Number 1, design with scale in mind from day 1. Think big. Number 2, make monitoring and optimizing a regular, consistent habit. And number 3, seriously look at cloud solutions. They give you the ultimate flexibility and power.
And that leaves us with one last big question. A question you really need to ask yourself. It's so easy to get comfortable with a system that's working perfectly right now. But the real question, the one that matters, is this. Is your system truly ready for the success that's waiting just around the corner?